Okay, so I need you to picture something with me for a second. A team walks into the biggest tournament in the sport as the defending champions. Number one ranked team on the planet, reigning continental champions. Their captain, arguably the greatest to ever touch a ball, is playing what everyone assumes is his final World Cup. Every single piece is in place for the perfect ending. And then it all falls apart. Not because they weren't good enough, not because of bad luck. Something else happened here, and by the time this tournament ended, this team wasn't just eliminated. They were being called sore losers by the entire footballing world. So, what actually went wrong? Stick with me, because this one's got layers, and honestly, once you see the full pattern, you're not going to be able to unsee it either. Alright, let's set the scene properly, because context is everything here. This is Argentina, defending World Cup champions, walking into the tournament as favorites, with Lionel Messi, the guy who basically defined a generation of this sport, playing what was supposed to be his victory lap. And for a while, it looked like the fairy tale was writing itself. But here's where things start getting weird, and it starts almost immediately. Game 1 against Algeria. Messi goes in for a tackle, catches the Algerian captain, and just rakes his studs straight down the guy's ankle. And look, I've watched a lot of soccer in my life. That's the kind of challenge that gets somebody sent off in basically any other context. Studs up, contact way above the ankle. The ref looks at it. Nothing. Not even a yellow card, not a talking to. VAR doesn't even bother pulling it up. And I know what you're thinking. Refs miss stuff all the time. That's just soccer. Sure, but this wasn't really about one missed call. It was about what it signaled before the knockout rounds had even started. The biggest star in the tournament just got a free pass, and people noticed immediately. And that's kind of where this whole story actually begins, because that one moment planted a seed online, and that seed did not stop growing. Fans started asking, out loud, whether the tournament was quietly being steered toward giving Messi his storybook ending. People started clipping these moments, comparing them side by side with how other players got treated for the exact same fouls, and a nickname started going viral, Vargentina. Kind of a joke at first, but it stuck, because now people were watching every single Argentina match, specifically looking for the pattern to repeat. And it did repeat. Multiple times, actually. So here's where I want you to really lock in, because this next part is where things stopped being a theory and started being something people just could not explain away anymore. Round of 16, Argentina versus Egypt in Atlanta. Egypt's up, playing with real confidence, and they score what should have basically sealed the game. Goal gets called back. VAR rewinds the play deep, like way deeper than you'd normally go, finds a foul way back in the build-up, and wipes the goal off the board. Then a few minutes later, Mohamed Salah gets taken down inside the box. Clear contact. The kind of challenge that's a penalty basically everywhere else in the world. Nothing given. No VAR check. Nothing. And here's the part that actually made people furious. Almost immediately after that non-call, Argentina goes straight down the other end and scores. The timing didn't feel like coincidence to a lot of people watching. It felt scripted. And I want to be clear, this isn't just fans being salty on Twitter. Egypt's manager came out after the match and said this publicly, that the tournament didn't feel fair, that there seemed to be pressure to protect the champions. Egypt actually filed a formal complaint. That's an entire national football federation putting it in writing. That's not nothing. Then Switzerland in the quarterfinal, and the pattern just shows up in a different shape entirely. Game goes to extra time, and for most of it, Argentina's fouls just aren't getting carded. The tactical stuff. The little niggling fouls that normally pile up into a yellow real quick. Then suddenly, in the 72nd minute, the whistle tightens, but only for the Swiss side. A yellow gets reviewed, upgraded to a second yellow, and a Swiss player's off the pitch. Now, to be fair to the ref here, that particular card was probably deserved. But once Switzerland's down to 10 men, Argentina's veterans basically take the game hostage, faking injuries to burn the clock, needling the Swiss bench, trying to draw a reaction, just managing the match instead of playing it. It wasn't about football anymore at that point. It was about running the clock until Switzerland physically couldn't recover. By the semifinal against England, this thing had gotten almost mechanical. Argentina wins 2-1, But nobody's talking about the goals. Everybody's talking about the foul count because a couple of Argentina's midfielders had basically built a system. They'd rotate who committed the tactical fouls so no single guy racked up enough cards to risk getting sent off. Break up a counterattack here, foul there, swap who's doing it next time. That's not passion. That's not emotions running hot in the moment. That is calculated, and it's exploiting exactly how far a referee will let things go before calling it a pattern. And then, this one's small, but it tells you everything. There's a moment with Messi and a Spanish defender named Cucurella. Cucurella puts his hand near his mouth mid-argument, and under a brand new rule for this tournament, that specific gesture during a confrontation can actually get you a red card. Messi sees it, and instead of just moving on with his life, he sprints over to the ref, pointing, practically begging for a red card. Ref reviews it, says it doesn't meet the bar. Fine. Except, and this is the part that really got people, one of Messi's own teammates had done the literal same gesture against Egypt earlier in the tournament. Nobody even reviewed it. No card, no VAR check, nothing. So when Messi tried to get an opponent sent off for something his own guy got away with days before, that's not about the rules anymore. That's just hunting for any edge he could find. Small moment in the grand scheme, sure, but it fits right into everything else we just walked through. So by the time we get to the final, you've got 4 matches, 4 completely different ways of bending the same set of rules. A tackle nobody punished, a penalty that vanished, a card that showed up out of nowhere for the other team, and a whole rotating foul system built to dodge suspensions. And all of that was about to run headfirst into a team that simply was not going to let any of it work. That team was Spain. And here's the thing about Spain. They didn't come to fight, they came to play. From the opening whistle, they just kept the ball, moved it around patiently, and never let the game turn into the kind of physical scrap Argentina had been winning all tournament long. No panic when they got shoved. No reaction to the little niggling fouls. Just calm, structured possession. The exact same shape they'd played the entire summer, no matter who was standing across from them. And that, more than anything, is what broke Argentina, because it was the complete opposite of every single thing their run had been built on. And the numbers by the end just tell the whole story on their own. Spain finished with 20 shots. Argentina had basically none. Their first real look at goal didn't even come until the 117th minute, deep into extra time. Think about that for a second. A team with Lionel Messi on the pitch went almost 2 full hours without seriously threatening the goal even once. And you could feel the frustration building the entire time, because the tactic that worked so well against Egypt, the stuff that rattled Switzerland into a man down, it just didn't land against Spain. Spain got fouled, got back up, and kept playing. And the more that failed to work, the more Argentina's composure just started cracking at the edges. Then Spain scores, and instead of Argentina finding some final gear to chase the equalizer, the football basically stopped mattering entirely. The fight took over. At the final whistle, it genuinely exploded. Shoving matches, players getting thrown to the ground, punches being thrown as Spain tried to celebrate. Even Argentina's own coaching staff getting pulled into physical altercations on the sideline. And in the middle of all that chaos, Messi did the one thing nobody else out there was doing. He shook hands with the Spanish players one by one, then just sat down alone on the grass, staring at nothing. Honestly, that image says more than any stat line could. He looked like the only guy on that field who actually understood what had just happened to his team. And then the moment that closed the whole tournament out, as Spain lifted the trophy, the entire Argentina squad turned their backs. Not 1 or 2 guys sulking off to the side. The whole team facing the other direction, refusing to even watch. And that, to me, is really the whole story in one image. This wasn't bad luck finally catching up to Argentina. This was a bill coming due. 4 matches of bending the rules, working the referees, getting away with things nobody else could have gotten away with. And it all finally ran headfirst into one team that simply wasn't going to let them get away with anything at all. Argentina didn't lose that final because Spain got lucky. They lost because for once, for one single night, nobody let them off the hook. If you've got thoughts on this one, drop them below. I know this is a hot take for some of you, and honestly, I want to hear it. Subscribe if you enjoyed this breakdown, because there's a lot more where this came from.